Hey everyone, you're with Tesla Tom, and thanks so much for joining me on my YouTube channel where I talk about all things Teslas, electric vehicles, and renewable energy. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. Please take a moment to hit that red subscribe button. That way you stay informed of any new content, and it also helps my channel to grow as well. Today we're going to talk about the fact that the full self-driving price in Australia has increased. Today is the 1st of July 2020, the first of the new financial year. We're going to talk about that and much more right after this. Okay, so those of you with keen eyes have no doubt hit the Tesla site recently and noticed that the full self-driving price in Australia has increased from $8,500 to $10,100. That's an increase of $1,600 in 24 hours. So yesterday, the end of the last financial year, 30th of June, it was $8,500. And now it's $10,100, certainly true for Tesla Model 3 as well as the other Tesla variants across the board. Elon Musk did tweet a few weeks ago that this was going to happen, that the full self-driving price was going to increase worldwide in select markets, and Australia is certainly one of them now. So at $10,100, we asked the question today, is it still worth getting full self-driving today? Because that's certainly one of the questions I get asked a lot by people in the comments section and also by associates and colleagues and friends. I guess for me personally, I have full self-driving and we certainly only got that in December 2019, so 6-7 months ago. And I found it quite handy to demonstrate what Tesla is now capable of. And with each update, you can see an improvement with that. And I guess because I have a YouTube channel, I like to demonstrate the new features. But I guess for you, if you're watching and you don't have a YouTube channel and you just are a regular driver, you may be asking, is it really worth it for me? Well, today what I'm going to do is go through the full self-driving features itself, and I'm going to rank them from 5 to 1 in order of ascending usefulness. And then I'm going to come back and give a subjective opinion as to whether it's still worth getting it for $10,100 today in July 2020. So first of all, what do you get for your money? So basically, if you don't add full self-driving, and by the way, if you're going to do this, I would suggest adding full self-driving after you take delivery of the car, and that way you escape the luxury car tax, because even at the most basic variant, if you add $10,000 to the purchase price, you'll be slugged a luxury car tax, which is 33 cents to the dollar for everything over $78,000, which I believe is the current price in 2020, 2021. And that's the threshold for fuel-efficient vehicles like Teslas. So if you don't add full self-driving, you get basic autopilot. Now what basic autopilot is essentially glorified cruise control. That's the way I put it, and that's the way I understand it, which means that you get cruise control, you get something called traffic awareness, which means that it'll follow the car ahead of you at the speed limit or below. And that's quite handy if the car in front of you decides to slow down, and you can also determine how close you want to be to that car as well. It's also got auto steer, which is basically lane keeping. You'll keep to the lane as long as the lane markings are visible. So you know what, for most of the time for road trips, that's quite a handy feature to have. And I would say it's probably enough for you if you don't want to test all the full self-driving features if you're taking your car for a road trip. Now, the full self-driving capability features that you get for $10,100, there are currently 5 of them in July 2020. The first one is navigate on autopilot, and that's basically what exactly that is. The car will try to take you where you want it to go. So for example, if I'm in Sydney, I'm going to plug it to say I want to go to visit Tesla Australia in Central Coast, or if I want to visit Tesla in the Gong Nash in Wollongong, or visit Sid EV and Dr. Sally out in Penrith, then if I plug that in the navigation bar, it'll try to take me there if it's available. And if there are motorways en route, then it is more than likely that that feature will be available to use. Not so much on city streets at this stage. The next feature is auto lane change, and this is basically allowing the car to lane change for you safely. And all you need to do is flick the indicator switch either left or right, and the car will change lanes if it's available and if it's safe. And by the way, I've got examples of navigate and autopilot and also self lane changing as well. I'll leave it up here in the link above and also in the description below as well. The next feature is auto park, and that's basically the car parking itself in parallel and perpendicular situations. The next one is summon, and there are 3 examples of summon. There's smart summon, there is summon auto park, and there's just basic summon forward and backwards. I've got examples of summon auto park and also smart summon as well, which I'll leave up here and also in the description below. And the last thing I want to talk about that full self-driving comes with is the ability to recognize and respond to traffic lights, stop signs, and other signals on the street, or other signs on the street. And I did a video on this recently where the car was able to do that and react to traffic lights. I'll leave that as a link as well up here and also in the description below. So the last thing that full self-driving doesn't quite have now is automatic driving on city streets. So that feature is yet to come. And I guess once they perfect that one, then you would say that the car is pretty close to autonomous driving if the car can manage driving on city streets. And the last unofficial thing that full self-driving does for you is gives you apparently software updates quicker than people without full self-driving. I'm not so sure about this one. Sometimes I do get software updates quicker than others, sometimes I don't. So a bit of a hit and miss with that one. So of those 5 features, navigate and autopilot, auto lane change, auto park, summon, and also reactivity to traffic lights and other signals, I'm going to rank them from 5 to 1 in the order of ascending usefulness, and then we're going to talk about whether it's still worth it for you in 2020 to get full self-driving. So at number 5, I'm going to say at this stage in July 2020, the ability to recognize and respond to traffic lights and stop signs is probably the least useful feature in its current state. And I say that in its current state because even with a green light, it'll still ask you to make a decision. So it won't go through a green light by itself. You've still got to either put your foot on the accelerator or flick the indicator switch to accept the green light. What is quite good is that if you say accepted a green light and the light changes, then it'll ask you to make another decision when the light turns yellow or red. At this stage, probably not so useful because of that fact. And even, for example, a recent video I did where there are traffic light signals overhead on the Sydney Harbour Bridge, you've got to accept each lane marking because it sees it as a traffic light. The only caveat is that this is still an evolving feature, and it does say in the notes that it'll improve with time. It's still very sensitive at this stage, but I guess with each update, as the neural net improves and learns from your driving, then it should get less annoying and less nagging. At number 4, the next most useful feature I would say is auto park. I don't use this one very often. I feel like I can still do a better job than the car at this stage. Auto park is a little bit slow. And I guess I'm still personally a bit paranoid about hitting the cars beside me or in front of me, depending whether I use parallel or perpendicular. So at this stage, I don't use auto park for that reason. At number 3, I would say it's smart summon. It's a cool feature to have. It's certainly a great novelty. I still do love playing with smart summon, and it still blows my mind watching the car drive itself to a particular location of your bidding. Obviously, this is a precursor to robo-taxi, which is what Tesla is trying to implement. Basically a ride-sharing service, autonomous ride-sharing service. So it's showing you what the car is capable of at this stage. But at number 3, probably not so useful at this stage. Number 2, I would say navigate on autopilot. So, if you're going to visit someone, like I said before, my other Phantom Lane 4 crew members, I would probably put it on and just for my own benefit, I would see how good it is and see whether it can take me there, whether it takes the right exits. But it's definitely an incomplete feature, and I certainly wouldn't be distracted or doing something else while the car is doing that. You certainly got to pay attention on autopilot at all times, whether it's basic or full self-driving, navigate on autopilot. That's certainly my little caveat I have at the start of every video I do. And at number 1, I would say the most useful feature at this stage is the auto lane change feature. And that's when you flick the indicator stalk left or right, and the car will do your bidding and change lanes for you. I would say 95% of the time this works pretty well. And if you're driving on, say, a long stretch of road and you've got a truck ahead of you, if you don't have full self-driving, you've got to cancel autopilot, you've got to change lanes for yourself and then change back and put it back on. I guess if I say it that way, it's not that much of an inconvenience, but if you've got to do that 100 times over a road trip, then it can get a bit of a hassle. So having that feature is useful. And I say of the 5 current features for full self-driving, I would say auto lane change is probably the most useful thing. Okay, so you're probably asking now, yes, that's great. You've ranked the features, but is it still worth $10,100 in July 2020 with full self-driving the way it is currently? As a YouTuber, well, as a wannabe YouTuber, I would say, yes, it's useful for me because I quite like having these features to test and to show you, of course. And it's exciting seeing each software update and seeing what improvements Tesla have come up with each time. And it's good also if you've got these features to feed into the neural net, and it learns each time someone drives, the system does get better. So yes, admittedly, it's an incomplete feature, but we are working towards autonomous driving. So yes, for someone like me who's interested in this and wants to see it improve, it's worth it, yes. But for the average person who doesn't do that many road trips, lives in the city, is not going to use autopilot that often, $10,000 certainly is a bit of a stretch. And let's face it, at this stage, it is still a very expensive toy and something that you are going to buy only if you're really keen on seeing how much it improves with time. So my brain is saying probably not worth it from a financial point of view. $10,000 is a lot of money. From my heart and from someone who loves seeing these kind of things, yeah, sure, it's a lot of money, but you know what? It depends on what you like to spend your money on. If you like to spend your money on tech, then yes, this is something worth looking at and watching it improve. Sure, it's jumped in price from $8,500 to $10,001. Still a lot of money, and I'm not going to commit until you go out and buy it, but have a look at it, have a look at your finances, have a look at these features, have a look at my videos, and decide for yourself whether you think it's worth it or not. Alright guys, well that is my rundown of full self-driving capability in July 2020 with the recent price rise. And of course, speaking of full self-driving, I just want to quickly plug Nash from Tesla and the Gong, who has just recently bought a Tesla Model 3, and he's going to leave it on the car-sharing platform ev.com.au. He's generously set the rental price at $130 a day for rental, with no minimum rental period, and also has full self-driving, and certainly worth looking at if you want something beyond the test drive, or if you're in the area from out of town, if you want an electric car. Help my good friend Nash out and have a look at his listing as well, which I'll leave in the description below too. Alright guys, well thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please leave a like. I'd really appreciate that. And of course, do you agree with my rankings? 1 to 5. Which do you think is a more useful feature? And which do you think is not a useful feature? I'd love to hear from you. Alright guys, until next time, stay safe. And as always, happy charging.